Welcome to the PharmaVOICE Editors Take video series, filmed live at the 2011 DIA annual meeting in Chicago. Hosted by Taryn Grome, editor of PharmaVOICE. In this session, Taryn meets with Bill Gwinn, VP, Clinical Informatics Solutions, QualityMetric.
Bill, it is a pleasure to see you again. What are the most critical factors in finding qualified clinical trial investigators?
One of the most critical factors in finding a clinical trial investigator is finding someone that has qualified patients. Insurance claims are good to identify people with matching patients, and it's also important to understand that they have prior experience. We have a lot of statistics in my company on people that have light experience and heavy experience, and we do statistical analysis of that. People with heavier experience do randomize and retain patients at a much higher rate than those that have only done one or two trials.
Secondly, what are some of the key best practices and/or processes for evaluating investigators?
Well, you should always be cognizant of the metrics, because if you don't set them up in advance, it's hard to track things later. The best metric for investigator performance is how fast they randomize patients. But it's not just total patients randomized, it's how fast they do it. So the best metric for evaluation is how many patients are randomized per month. If you think of it as a rate, then you have a key statistic that can be matched against other things. So when we do our statistics, we try to match against that one. So things that correlate with patient success, patient recruitment success, are things like that patient count. Sometimes I refer to that as fishing where the fish are. So if they have a lot more patients, the randomization rate will be faster, and also experience will correlate with that success. But you do need to think about the metrics in advance, because if you don't, then what you end up with is simply what you find out in the questionnaire to the investigator, and often that's not enough.
Finally, Bill, how do you use questionnaires to evaluate the investigators?
Well, prospectively, everyone must send a questionnaire. After all, usually the questionnaire asks if you're interested in doing the trial. So if they're not interested, the game is over right there. So the questionnaire is necessary, but it doesn't answer all the questions accurately. One of the things that everybody asks in the questionnaire is, how many patients can you recruit for my trial? You know, here's some specifications. How well do you think you'll do? Most investigators are inaccurate, highly inaccurate, on how many patients they actually have. It's not that they're lying to get money, which is some people say that they're doing that. That's not the case. What happens is it's complex. There might be 80 different inclusion and exclusion criteria, and the person completing the questionnaire does not have the time to go into the medical records office and look at each and every chart, and basically there's no time for chart review. So when the investigator is filling out how many patients that he or she might have, it's a guess. And because it's a guess, it's often wrong, because people guess optimistically. Our data comparing the questionnaires to insurance claims data shows that they can guess wrong by a factor of up to 10. We actually had one where they guessed 10 times more patients than they actually had. And these were good people, too. They ended up being hired. But if we had used those metrics as a planning tool and had relied on that, the whole trial would have turned into a rescue mode. And that's what happens when you fall short of your goals. So it's important to have an objective source and understand that the questionnaire can't do everything, and in particular, the questionnaire cannot accurately assess the patient count.
Additional Editors Take videos, as well as podcasts, white papers, webinars, and more, are available in the resources area at www.pharmavoice.com.